Ladies and gentlemen of the 5 Pillars of Anime Facebook group, meet my friend Pee-wee. Yes, this is the same Pee-wee that helped me out with my Mushoku Tensei video. And oh, thanks again for that, by the way. Say hi to the people, Pee-wee. You see, Pee-wee has been a busy boy this year and his anime consumption has drastically decreased. Which is a problem because I used to go to him to talk about anime even when I wasn't watching it. You could say that it was because of him that I even got into anime. And now I'm looking to return the favor. Now, I've gathered a crack squad of group members to help Pee-wee out as he tries to get back into the anime game. He and I have had a few conversations about some anime he needs to watch, but I'm only one man, and I can't watch every anime that comes out, which led to this group of talented individuals to come together. For the rest of this video, we are going to be recommending and talking about some anime he should watch. Plus, we let him know about the ones he should avoid so we can get him back into the game right. Okay, we good? Alright, let's go. Before we look back at the year that was, I think we need a little context on what 2021 came to be in terms of the anime industry, and to do that, we have to go back to 2020 one more time.
Oh, hell no!
Don't worry, it will just be for a bit. I promise. 2020 was supposed to be a massive year for anime, but as we all know, something derailed the whole year and literally shut down the planet. And this thing is coming out with new strains faster than Lil Wayne was coming out with hits in the late 2000s. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but the one thing I remember seeing is how many times the word delayed was next to an anime. While there were still many heavy hitters like Haikyuu, Fire Force, and Sword Art Online pressing on, bolstered by some fantastic newcomers like the Misfit of Demon King Academy, The Tower of God, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Rent a Girlfriend. In the end, they couldn't quite remove that what could have been feeling. Now with 2021 about 95% done, it's time to look back and see the year that was, plus look at the future. Last thing, I promise. While we don't intend to spoil any of the shows that we will talk about, we are still warning you of any potential spoilers. There's no better place to start than the heavy hitters, right? We're talking about the anime that even the most casual watcher would know, with standouts like Demon Slayer, which continues its dominant run with the release of the Mugen Train movie in the spring, and season 2 starting up this December. Demon Slayer is poised to run the game for 2 years straight. We can't forget ReZero season 2 finishing up to start the year, leaving me very intrigued to see where season 3 will lead, and Attack on Titan embarking on its final season, especially with the manga finishing up this year as well. Let's see what other heavy hitters stood out in our minds. It may be safe to say that the most popular heavy hitter of them all in 2021 was The Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, as its second season began on January 12th. It's very rare that the sequel is better than the original, but don't tell that to this show. If there was one thing I didn't like about season 1, it was the fact that we were shown a very rosy look, so to speak, about how the world looks at the Tempest Federation as it continues to grow in power, both militarily and economically. But boy, don't they address this very fact very quickly. The show had it all, with its amazingly animated fights between Rimuru and Hinata Sakaguchi, the pseudo Hell in a Cell match at the Walpurgis banquet. Owen Veldora did this.
Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
あの技どこで覚えたんだ。
昇竜拳からのカスブーキャッ鉄山拳カメハメハー
Yeah, Veldora looks like this now. And why is Rimuru fighting Maline? You're going to have to watch to find out. Oh, I can't forget about Rimuru's second delightful visit to the Elf Tavern, Shion continuing to be the absolute menace that she is to the point of risking a diplomatic incident, and the shocking, corrupt religious crusade which leads to a tremendously gratifying massacre and everything that happens after. Is it bad that I enjoyed that? One more thing. With season 2 being split into 2 parts, there was naturally a gap in between the two. But we weren't left empty-handed, with the Slime Diaries slotting nicely in that gap. The Slime Diaries is basically if The Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime was just a slice of life series. The show covered all the in-between times that couldn't be covered in the main series of the show. Like for example, when Malim, the lovable weapon of mass destruction herself, basically squats in Tempest, a lot of hijinks ensue, including a startling number of broken doors, getting Ranga to question his loyalties, and her budding rivalry with Shion. But the overall star of the Slime Diaries? It was Geld and the little goblin girl that was always with him. Makes me smile every time.
In 2021, a lot of great animes came out, but there are a few that stand at the top, and the one I want to talk about is Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen outsold Demon Slayer, Tokyo Revengers, Attack on Titan, and My Hero Academia in manga sales by series. Damn! Now, Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely in the shonen category, which has been around for a very long time, but what it really does to stick itself out is it capitalizes on issues and things that people really like to see in that category, as like it tests the limits of storylines. The list of characters is stupid unique. It's very humanist in both the message and the execution of the show. People die like a lot, so you don't know who's going to survive, so the death gleaming over the head of the show keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's very fast paced. The villains are not relatable at all, so when they show up, like, you hate them, and you want them just gone. There's a good balance between the dark and the light tones, so I'd say it almost equals out. I'd say more dark tones than light tones, but it's got a good mesh between it, so it keeps you very entertained. And it has abilities, like the powers of some of the characters in here are so incomprehensible that when they pull it out, you just sit back and enjoy it. You don't try to think of, like, how can you do it in this area when this is happening. You just see it and you just sit back and you watch the show. And to top it all off, the production value of the show is magnificent. As an animator myself, I couldn't hold a candle to these guys. The pencil mileage that they're putting in on each episode is just ballistic. So if you can sit back and just enjoy the beauty of this show, it's well worth your time.
When it comes to heavy hitters of this past year, 2021, I'm going to have to go with Fruits Basket, the final season. It came out spring 2021, and it's a little bit different than what most people would say, because most people would go with shonen anime, and I'm going with the shoujo. And at this point in time, I would consider Fruits Basket a classic. The original anime came out in 2001 and got a reboot in 2019. So for this reboot to finally reach a conclusion, it came with a lot of emotions for those who have been fans for so long. And if you are curious and wanting to watch this series, you can watch it on either Funimation or Hulu.
You know what's crazy? Every time I think I have the anime industry figured out, they throw another curveball at me. Each new season brings a treasure trove of new anime ready to captivate us, whether it's controversial, thought-provoking, and heart-wrenching like Higehiro. After being rejected, I shaved and took in a high school runaway. Something with great potential like the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat, or something that is shaping up to be the next great anime, like Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. I especially wouldn't know about the last show I mentioned. I mean, I only made a 20-minute video gushing about it, but that's enough shilling. Let's see what other newcomers burst onto the scene.
In 2021, a lot of new animes came out, and to me the one that stood out the most was To Your Eternity. And a brief overview of what actually goes on in that show is that you're an immortal being that comes down, and he can shapeshift into things that it's impacted by for good or for bad. With that being said, let's talk about what makes this anime great. The atmosphere this anime puts out is mellow, beautiful, and heartbreaking. The anime takes us on a journey with a being that has the possibility of looking like us, but they don't quite think like us. I like to call it the clean slate perspective. As you go on with this journey with them, you learn how to walk properly, eat properly, and eventually even talk properly. But while this is going on, the being is learning about the beauty of life and human relationships and what makes life really worth living. And to really top it all off, that it's sad. That's okay. You know, it's okay to be sad. That's what makes us human. It's overcoming the diversity and the hopelessness. And this anime is really full of that and teaches us that. And so you get this nice life lesson along with this beautiful and tragic journey this being goes on. And if all of that is not enough to convince you to watch To Your Eternity, the opening is absolutely fantastic. The opening really puts out the vibe that this anime is going to portray throughout the whole entire season. So please sit down, watch To Your Eternity. I can assure you, you will not regret it.
It's very rare that you come across something, no matter what it is, that you resonate with so much. Horimiya was that for me. From the moment I saw Miyamura hand the phone back to Hori, I couldn't look away, and I knew I was watching something incredible. Horimiya it's just great. I don't really have the words to describe it eloquently. I have never identified with a fictional character more than I have with Miyamura, and the bond between him and Hori is heartfelt, hilarious, and something that everyone should behold. Horimiya has everything from the previously mentioned love story to a great cast of characters and everything in between. The fact that all this is accomplished in a single season is something that should be commended. Now, if I can stop mentioning the show in every video or rewatching the show like I'm Tom Brady watching film, that would be great.
So my personal favorite of new coming anime series this year of 2021, it would have to be Link Click. It is a supernatural Chinese anime that came out in spring 2021. It consists of time traveling through photos for clients' requests. Whether if that's for a task to expose fraud or to clear up a rumor or even deeper details of what clients want. It's a really good series. I definitely highly recommend Link Click, and you can watch it on Funimation.
Do you suffer from Sword Art Online syndrome? Do you get anxious every time you see an anime character put on a VR headset to play an MMO? Worried about a convoluted plot that could no way happen not just in real life but also by anime standards? Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt so I'll max out my defense, may be able to help. Meet Maple, a normal girl who's living a normal life until her best friend convinces her to play New World Online, and hijinks immediately ensue. One aspect that really works in the show's favor is the fact that Maple is completely new to the world of video games, and upon her booting up into the game, she has no idea what she's doing. Like the show's title says, she really doesn't want to get hurt, so she maxes out her defense and breaks the game hilariously, to the point that even the game devs conspire against her. Bofuri doesn't really take itself seriously,
So if you think you can compare this to SAO, you're sadly mistaken. Well, not entirely. Bofuri's VR MMO is a lot more fun, with its really nice players, giant floating turtles, cute guild houses, and its hilarious absurdity. Bofuri will keep you entertained all the way through. Plus, Season 2 is already on the way, so get ready for even more hijinks in the future.